Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, trying to get down.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, trying to get down.
Don't worry, Ma. We'll be there soon.
We? Is this the one?
Well, let's say I found the one who takes me to another level. Always stays calm under pressure. Most importantly, the one that helps me discover the coolest places.
This sounds wonderful.
Come outside, I'll introduce you.
They're here.
Definitely the one.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Frontier.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription.
All right, hello and welcome to another live edition of the ONG Strike Zone. It's Brian Fulford, and sliding on in is Kelvin Rozier, and the stable one today in our upper right corner box. That would be joining us, my co-host from the BCSN Sports Wrap, AD Drew, Rattler first before any school, Rattler first. So had to bring on Drew to be a special guest co-host tonight. The other two members of the team are one sick, one's taking care of the wife. So we're gonna try to hold it down in their honor. So Kelvin, AD, how you guys doing tonight?
Brian, I need you to define stable when you talk about me. Please define stable. We talking physical, we talking mental, we talking financial. Please define stable when you refer to me. Let everybody know, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, stable for this show might be the fact that you're in the box and you might have the better or best internet connection. We'll see how that goes tonight. So
then I am stable. Then I am stable in that analogy. Some of the other things definitely am not.
True that. Kelvin, how you doing? Rocking some new gear.
Hey man, brother, I'm doing well. It's good to be with the brothers again. Let me just say to Kofi, I hope he feeling better. You know, he get well soon. And Marcus, I hope him and the wife enjoy their celebration. And it's good to be with y'all guys. You know, yes, I'm rocking the Anthony Lawrence collection. I want to make sure that I give them a shout out. They said that, you know, that they will take care of us, and they have. So, you know, they're official sponsors as far as I'm concerned of the show, right? Of the gear.
Hey, exactly.
Make sure you go out there and get. Make sure you go out and get that gear from a licensed vendor.
Well, this is not Anthony Lawrence, but this is licensed FAMU gear.
That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. Right. And of course, anytime you are shopping at the Anthony Lawrence collection, please make sure
that when you're purchasing your FAMU gear that you use that code JD. Our good friend Janiah Davis of the FAMU softball team, I think there's a 15% discount that comes when you use that code, and proceeds will go back to her, as that is the part of the Be Legendary line, or the NIL collection or collective or collection, I should say, that Anthony Lawrence that they put together through their clothing properties. So shout out to them. It's funny, I was peeping some stuff on the site. I saw a nice little, I can't, because I saw something nice that was on discount, and so I don't want to say it because then somebody may run and snatch it up from me. I probably should have bought, for whatever reason, I don't ever buy when I first see, but I don't want to say what it was I saw, because somebody may go snipe me for it. But yeah, I'll be back on the site here pretty soon this weekend, making some purchases, no doubt.
I hope it wasn't
That's
on
a bad
clearance.
that's a bad habit. That's a bad habit,
It is
especially with FAMU gear.
Yes, it's a bad habit on FAMU gear. I've seen lots of stuff that I have missed out on because I come back and I'm like, but unfortunately, my father taught me this lesson that if it was meant to be, you would have grabbed it the first time. So don't worry about it. You don't have it, so you ain't missing it. So and that kind of thing just sticks with you. And so anyway, but we got some guests coming up in the show. We got a lot to talk. A good weekend for a pair of FAMU spring sports teams. So we'll talk about that shortly. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk with Coach Ericka Cromartie, the head girls basketball coach over at FAMU DRS. Of course, Kelvin is a graduate of DRS. So the Lady Baby Rattlers, I believe Coach Cromartie has won 3 or 4. I think it's 4. Maybe it's 3. You're 4, and we'll see. I'll go back and check my notes. State championships in the state of Florida. Since she's coached there, she has coached several players on to Division I talent, Division I schools, and so we're going to talk about all kinds of things, from just recruiting to the challenges that she just challenges of maintaining a dominant, strong program. And so we'll get into talking with her. And then at the top of hour 2, our good friend Gerald Thomas III will come in and join us, and we'll kind of get his perspective on the first week, which was last week, of Rattler spring practice. And then we'll also kind of hit him up about what we might expect from the rest. And then we'll get into some other thoughts about regarding FAMU athletics as well. So let's kind of start the show. Hey, before we get into the Rattler Roundup, what we like to kind of give base to our team that are out there working. It is March Madness. For some people, it's March Sadness if your team is not participating in postseason basketball. But it's March Madness for a lot of people, and this is a big time in the NCAA tournament. Of course, the Rattlers. We've had our taste of dancing and being the. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time since we've gone dancing, and we've been the team that probably a lot of people thought, how did they come from the seed that they were to do what they do, and to get to the tournament? And so we've been that team with a losing record to go into the tournament. And so I bring all that up to say the SWAC tournament was probably might have been one of the best upset tournaments in recent history, as not only did you have the dominant Jackson State women's basketball team that Drew, what was the number going in? What would you say the number over the last 3-4 seasons? How many games have they lost over the last 3-4 seasons?
I want to say 3 games over the last 4 seasons. I know they were undefeated last year. They lost now 2 this year. and then they lost one SWAC game the COVID year of 2020. So that would be three games over 3 years. Check that. 3 games over 3 years, and probably like 4 over the last 4 to 5 years, including the undefeated season.
Yeah, they had won 4 regular season titles. I think either 2 or 3 conference tournaments. So I mean, this is still one of the elite tournaments. But Southern got them. Southern got them in the semifinals. If you didn't see it, hopefully you saw it. A last second.
Made Sports Center top 10.
Made Sports Center top 10. Yeah, it should have. A 3-pointer, top of the key by so now here. Let me ask you guys this, because somebody brought this up. I'm not gonna say who, but somebody brought it up. One of our listeners, and so we'll know where this goes. Jackson State is up 2 with about 6 minutes to go. Do you foul anybody from Southern and send Southern to the free throw line instead of giving up what turned out to be a game-winning 3-pointer and leaving you only with
6 seconds
maybe they had about a second left? Well, how much did Jackson State have left after the shot?
Maybe like 1-2, 1-4, somewhere up in there.
1.3, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So the question is, do you utilize the strategy of fouling? I always thought it was if you're up 3, you utilize the strategy, but they were up 2.
Correct. No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't think so. I never heard
whoever said that obviously has never coached basketball outside of rec league.
Well, I've heard it from more than a couple of people. I've heard it from a couple of people. So
I'll break it down in my best Stephen A. voice. That is answer 9. That is answer 10. That is answer 11.
I didn't disparage anybody. I just kept saying I don't know why you would give another team 2 chances to make a free throw. I don't care if the worst free throw shooter is on the court. I don't care if it's Shaq. Shaq may just all of a sudden at that moment decide to hit 2 in a row. I am not taking that chance.
Brian, that's like being up 4 and actually playing defense when somebody shoots a 3. The only thing you can do is do something stupid at that point and foul them and give them an opportunity to tie the game. You give up the 3 and just get the ball in bounds. Ball game. That's anyway.
Play good defense.
Play good defense.
Be smart.
Play more than shadow Olay defense.
Right. In terms of upsets, you had Texas Southern, the 8 seed, knocking off the 1 seed Alcorn State.
Told you so.
On the men's side, we called that. Unfortunately, Texas Southern plus 1,200 to win it all. We were stupid enough not to play that. I'm still smacking myself on the hand for that. But anyway, so Kelvin, among all the upsets in the SWAC tournament, what was your reaction to the action in Birmingham, Alabama? Which upset did you not see coming? Just your overall thoughts.
Well, of course, on the women's side, you figure Jackson State is a machine, even though they had shown a couple of times this year that they're not as dominant as they've been in the past, but they still were clearly the class of the SWAC women's. And the young lady at Southern, she hit a pretty good shot and kind of walked into it, and so those things happen. That's why they call it March Madness. I remember somebody posting about it. That they were wondering, was that a good strategy? And again, just as the discussion we had, at the end of the day, you got to play good defense. You got to defend, and then sometimes other teams got players and they make plays. And so in that case, it was somewhat contested. It wasn't just like she just shot it with no contest on it. And there was a lot of pressure on it, and it just happened to go in. So those things happen, and that's why a lot of people love March Madness, because it can be unpredictable sometimes, and sometimes the underdogs win. On the men's side, to me, that's less of an upset because Texas Southern has won 3 in a row, and probably 5 out of the last 7 or something like that. They're used to being they're used to being in that position. The coach know how to coach his team through the tournament, and so it wasn't a surprise, and wish both teams the best of luck in the tournament. However, I don't feel like either one of them will be there very long.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, Texas, well, Texas Southern has won games in the first 4. They're not so much luck as they play right now. Southern does play tonight. Actually, that game might have already tipped, or it tips. Yeah, it already. So we'll see how long. We'll see if they make it to the. We'll see if they're still hanging around at the end of the show. That'll be the big test. Are they still playing by the end of the show? Drew, I thought while we're on the topic of basketball, we don't get your takes very much as it relates to FAMU and basketball, so I can throw you into the hot pan, and it not bounce off on us, because you've seen what you've seen from FAMU, men and women's, in maybe the short abridged version. What would you do if you are AD Sykes? How would you roll into this off season, knowing what you know, seeing what you've seen, and only being on the job for now 3 months?
While I mull over that, because I got to mull over it because I want to be politically correct. Can I give a couple of comments on the SWAC tournament first, Brian?
Please, sure.
All right. Let's go back to Jackson
See how he got
State.
out of that. You see how he got out of that?
I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into it.
That was smooth.
But I need to make sure that what's up here comes out of here and is appropriate.
Gotcha.
So going back to Jackson State Southern, you guys act like, and everybody acts like, that this Southern team was a Rudy Poop team. There were, when you look from Jackson State, definitely the class of the regular season in the SWAC. When you look from teams 2 through 8, there was only a 3-game difference between teams 2 through 8. So, honestly, any one of those women teams could have been in that position. And while we're talking about what Southern did everybody realize that number 7 seed Arkansas Pine Bluff was their opponent in the finals? Have we failed to mention that? And talk to a lot of Jacksonians, that was the team that they were afraid of, not Southern. So maybe they looked past Southern towards Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now, credit Southern for locking Jackson State down at the end of that game. Because Jackson State was up by 6 with under 5 minutes to go in that ball game.
I had cashed that ticket, Drew. I went to sleep and cashed the ticket. I woke up and I was so disappointed.
we in the chat group. Remember what I posted in the chat? I thought the game was over.
Yeah.
So, but that's why you play till it's 000 on the clock. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the game that got away. That was Prairie View at Jackson State. Prairie View was supposed to win that game against Jackson State, but blew the late dunk that would have potentially see the game for Prairie View. That's the one that everybody has been sleeping on. Yes, Texas Southern made a great run. They're paying for it now. Alcorn and Texas State, North Texas State got the ball right now. They're the second media timeout, and it's a one-possession game right now. We want the second media timeout in that particular game. But I'll give you a score update when they come back from the media timeout because I missed the score. Now, going back to your question, Brian. Your AD Sykes. Obviously, Any athletic administrator has a Rolodex or has a contact list now. We don't use Rolodex anymore. Of people who, if one of their coaches finds another job or something like that, that they can call and say, hey, we got to open this job up. We got to go through the process. But I guarantee you, if I see your name, you're going to get that interview. I can't guarantee you the job, but I can tell you you're going to get that interview. Every athletic administrator has a contact. Pretty sure AD Sykes does also. It's end of the season evaluation time. Although she's only been on the job, 3 months? Is it 3 months officially yet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But she's known she was taking the job for 5-6 months, correct? So, you don't think she was evaluating from afar? As a fan? I'm pretty sure she had off-the-record conversation. So now, you call the 2 coaches into your office. And not only just these 2 coaches, you have to have this conversation with every coach, every head coach currently on FAMU books right now. What are my expectations? This is what I expect from you, your program. This is what your budget is for right now. I can't until I can get out and do the things that I need to do from a financial thing. Alcorn is now 13-10 to North Texas. North Texas, 11:58 to go. But until I can get out and raise the capital that we need to improve these things, these are the cards that you are dealt with. Like playing the game of spades. You got 3. You got a couple over here. You might be able to make a 5-hand, but you really only got 2. But if the cards play right, you can pull a 5 out of it. So you got to have this conversation. If you guys can't agree on a minimum set of issues, circumstances, goals, whatever the case is, then we need to go ahead and part as friends now. Because if you reluctantly stay on board, and I'm talking to the 2 coaches, it can get ugly. Not only for them on the pro level, but for the program. So have this conversation now. And lay down the law. Hey, you may be able to hold your job because you're under contract, but as we all know, assistant coaches are not under contract. Maybe you need to clean house with your assistant coaches. Players are on 1-year renewable scholarships. Maybe you need to rebuild the chemistry. Athletic director may say, hey, I want you to focus more on high school recruits. The athletic director may say, hey, I want you to focus more on transfers. Coach say, I want to do the opposite. Now we at an impasse. But who controls it ultimately? Athletic director. Have a conversation. I never say you need to fire someone. But if you guys can't agree on the next set of action, it's best that everybody parts ways and go on to the next venture. Did I handle that politically correct?
All right. Yeah, that's pretty PC. That's pretty good job. Good PC answer. Hey, one of the things that we'll mention, since we are talking about basketball, I'll just bring this note up now so that we can get it out of the way among all the different news and notes, because it did come out this week. Jordan Tillman. Yeah, thank you. Jordan Tillman entered the transfer portal. Now, Tillman averaged 10.6 a game, 3 rebounds, 2.4 assists per game. But what I found most interesting about the portal is that it's played at about 34.6 minutes per game. Most minutes in the SWAC. Now, what's interesting is every playing time, getting plenty of it and more. at 34.6. There's only 40 minutes in a game, right? Unless you go to overtime. He's getting 34 minutes a game. Started in like 17 of 18 games, but he's transferring. You do the math on that. But when you put 2 and 2 together, what number comes up, Elvin? And how do you when you see Tillman entering the portal? What are your thoughts?
It could be a lot of things. If I remember correctly, he's from Pine Bluff. I don't know if he's interested in going to another SWAC school. And he was our starting. We used him as a point guard. I thought he was more of a 2 guard, but he's a slasher. You know, he really can't shoot. He did turn the ball over at a high level, but he had some really good games too, where he led the team in scoring. And but overall, he played a lot. He was one of the few kids who just had latitude, and regardless of how he played, he was going to get the minutes. So I don't know exactly what is thinking into leaving, whether it's just a different opportunity. Obviously, it wasn't playing time. But we do have some people coming into the program. One high school, one junior college kid with some pretty good credentials, and so maybe that factored in. Maybe he just wasn't happy here. You know, transfer portal now gives kids the freedom to make choices that anything in their best interest, and just because he's in a portal doesn't automatically mean he has a destination or he's going to get picked up. So we'll see how it plays out. But he did play a lot of minutes. I can't slam the kid, but we only won 7 games with him playing that many minutes. So I wish him the best if he leaves.
I'm not here to disparage the young man, but I'm just like, that's sad. It's a sad state of affairs when you're transferring and leaving FAMU, and you're getting a lot of minutes playing. So it's just, that's sad when you think about that. You were leaving FAMU, and unfortunately, none of the players who entered the portal last year and left, and I think there's about 4 or 5 that we came up with, none of them were re-recruited or came back last year. So I just hope that we don't end up with a situation of having to rebuild a whole new roster again. Again. Yes, I'll put it like that. All right, let's take a break. We got more basketball talk on the other side. We're going to talk women's basketball. We're going to talk with the head coach over at FAMU DRS, Coach Ericka Cromartie, on the other side of this break. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney+, Hulu, ESPN+, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Hear the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. I'm Brian. That's Kelvin Rozier. There's AD Drew, guest co-hosted, and joining us now, head coach Ericka Cromartie from right over at FAMU DRS, the three-time state champions, Also having made 4 other trips to the Final Four in the FHSAC. So that's like a run of about 7 or 8 years. I hope I got all of that right, Coach. Welcome.
11.
I missed 11? Okay, excuse me. Let me get it right now. So thank you, Coach, for joining us. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. And I will say this, out of the 11, and we got to pay respects to Coach Ali. He just passed last week, the coach that was before me. So definitely want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, let's start there before we get to him. I obviously, Kelvin, I'm not too familiar with Coach Ali and the legacy, but having read and heard some of the reports, talk a little bit about his impact on the program that you're leading now.
Well, to go back from it, Coach Ali came in 2003, and I had just left in 2001. So during my time, we made it to the state finals twice, but we never came back with the trophy. So to hear when Coach Ali won in 2003 was just great. We felt like we all had, you know what I mean? Because at FAMU High, we're all together. We feel like we're all family. So when I heard about him, I was very excited. And when I came back from Miles, I was in grad school at FSU, and he met with me and he wanted me to be on his staff, and be his assistant. But at the time, I had just finished grad school and I was trying to make some money. So I couldn't come on as an assistant because, I needed a steady paycheck. And so I ended up going to Crossroad Academy and coaching. But it was in a process for us to work together. But it just didn't happen that way. But it wasn't anything bad. It just wasn't a timing for it. And then I think they went on to win again in 2011, I think, and in 2013. So he definitely started something when he was there. Now, it was coaches before him, Coach Hicks, Coach LeCount, those coaches that paved the way. But I think when Coach Ali came, he kind of took it another step further.
Kelvin, you want to add anything in as you are a grad of FAMU DRS?
Nothing other than as Coach Cromartie has stated, she's continuing a long line of successful basketball coaches, particularly on the women's side. We've had a lot of success on the men's side too during my time, but on the women's side, it's like the premier dominant program in the city. In Florida, period, at our levels especially. We've had a lot of success playing up in competition. We've had a lot of success defeating city schools, and we've had a lot of players that have come through the program that have went on to play in college at different levels, from Power 5 and the WNBA all the way to to junior college. So, Coach, my question is going to start there. Just talk about some of the players that have contributed to your success, and just kind of let people know your philosophy on what it takes to have a successful basketball program.
Sure. I will say, just starting off, I have been blessed to have great girls. You know what I mean? Like, you have girls that have, female issues from time to time. But when it comes to the respect factor, I've never had an issue with the girl. So I just want to thank God for that. And then how I coach is more so just the whole person. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're there to play basketball, but I try to make sure they understand that I care for them as a person. And once they see that, then that's when you can go on to basketball. And we press, we go after it, we go get it. And that's our philosophy: defense first, and then offense will come. We play a high-paced game. We going after it. You're going to get tired of us probably by the end of the second quarter because we getting up in your behind. And all the girls feed into that. And once they start seeing us, transition scoring and getting it to our post players and our guards just penetrating to the basket, things just open up for us. And that's how we, became successful.
Where did you get that philosophy from? Who are some of your mentors, and how did you develop your style of play?
I think more so just, I started playing at a very, very early age. I mean, I started playing at like 5 years old against boys at a local park called Palmer Row in Tallahassee. And I'm still kind of small, but I was always so small compared to everybody. but I held my own. And so I think I used that to my advantage when I started coaching. Like, even though you're smaller, it's certain things you got to do to be elusive to kind of get an edge. And I'm a competitor, so like it's only one way you can do it. You know what I mean? You're not gonna do it right, and just don't do it at all. And so I mean, and you know, when you're a coach, your players take on your personality, so they know like you got to come with it. And when I was playing under Coach Hicks, Coach Adolph Hicks, we always would press. And I pressed, and from we pressed, our defense became our offense, and that's just kind of how I like to coach it.
Okay, good.
Drew, Drew, go ahead and jump in there with a question for Coach Cromartie.
All right, Coach. We hear so much about the next level and that's the ultimate goal for these kids to go on to the next level. Not necessarily as basketball players, but just to go to the next level or be a successful young lady. But for those who partake in basketball at the next level, we've seen this thing called the transfer portal filter down and affect high school players and the way that they're recruited versus how you were recruited when you were coming out of high school. Just talk about how difficult it is now for these young ladies to get a decent scholarship offer at the next level, and what you have to do as a coach to help sell your girls, especially if it's a borderline girl.
Good question, and I definitely can relate to that question. Just this year, we had to deal with two of my starters to transfer to another school. I won't go into details with that, but you know, sometimes people do things to gain opposing players. I'll just say that. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? You had to at the other time be acceptive of that. You know, it wasn't just one way. It had to be, you know, both parties in play. But at the end of the day, you still have to coach what you have. And that's exactly what I did. So the ones that were still there, I gave them everything I had as if I had a state championship team. Because at the end of the day, it's all about teaching the game of basketball and teaching them to be young women. So the transfer portal in high school is there. It could be effective. But more so about the kids moving on and transitioning with college with the transfer portal. I mean, I look at it both sides. If it's a situation where you just feel like, you know what, I'm not gonna get the proper playing time I need to have. I've been working. I don't see a way out of it. Then hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. But if it's just that you just want something different and you're not putting in the work, then I don't agree with that. You know, I think some kids sometimes just don't want to work at anything. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I don't like it, bam, I'm gone. And you know, I was taught to, hey, work through it. You know what I mean? I stayed at one school for 12 years. And at that time people came
Obviously
and
you
left.
can play all of it.
I mean, people came and left, but I just looked at it as whoever come, I'm gonna just try to outwork them. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, but it's different, you know. You have coaches that doesn't mind that. It doesn't mind that a kid went to 3 different schools. They just want a kid, you know. They don't care anything about that. But I try to teach mine just to work through things. I mean, you know, that's why, you know, yeah, this season wasn't the best season we had, but those girls stayed and worked. You know what I mean? So you got to give them credit for that. But it's kind of touchy with me with that transfer portal because, I mean, some kids just, I ain't getting my way, so I'm gone, and I don't like that.
Let me follow up with the question while we're on the topic of the transfer portal, because I know one of the things that is happening now is that and I'm going to ask you in a second to maybe tell us some of the schools that some of your players have gone on to, but you've had players go on to Division I, Division II schools. Do you get a lot of calls from, I'm going to say it, from from coaches or other people about some of your players to gauge how happy, have you talked to so-and-so, how happy are they? You know, it seems like that's another part of the transfer portal that is out there. What are your thoughts as you get calls, or if you do get calls from people about your players?
You mean, do I get calls from college coaches asking about my players that I have?
Yeah, like how happy they are at where their current situation or something of that nature.
Oh, okay. Not really. The last group I had, they went to, like, smaller schools, so that wasn't a lot of talk about that. And then when the girls that I did, the former girls I had, when they went to the bigger schools, the transfer portal wasn't even in then. So this kind of just started. But I do have college coaches that call and just say, "Hey, coach, is anybody in your city we need to think about, or who you like in your city, or who you like in your state that you think I need to look at?" And I tell them, even if it's somebody that we win against, I've sent other players to school. If I seen we played against them, they were good, I tell the coaches about them. Because I feel like, especially in Tallahassee, I feel like all of us should do that. But but they'll call and ask, who I think is good in the city or the state, and kind of give my opinion on that. But I haven't had anyone call me about my former players recently, though.
Okay.
I hope I answered the question right.
Yeah. Where are some of the schools your players have come from? And I know we got a little echo there, so I don't try to work through that. Where are some of the schools that your players have been recruited to? Or ended up going?
I had one at Louisville, Appalachian State, Talladega. Almost had one at Miles. A lot of JUCOs. St. Pete. I'm trying to think if I don't forget anybody.
New York.
And then a lot of Division II schools as well.
And so I gotta ask the obvious question here. Because it's out there from a lot of people, and just even we've talked about it on our show. In terms of the pipeline from your school to whether it be FAMU or to Florida State, how has that been, or has there been a philosophy, or do you feel like there is an outreach to reach local students? I mean, you've got one of the top programs, and there's probably a couple other programs in your area that are good, but you've got one of the top programs. Has the local colleges been in touch? Do they make an effort to try to bring your students over to them?
In the past, Sue Simara, I will say, has tried to. She recruited my player that ended up going to Louisville. She was heavily recruiting her, Jasmine Jones. FAMU, not really. I would have conversations with Coach Gibson in the past, but it wasn't really about players per se. And I just kind of met Coach Pillow, so this year we kind of talked a little bit, but I mean, this year was a rebuilding year for us, so no, she didn't inquire about any of my girls. But and that's kind of been it. I don't really know who the TCC coach is. I think they just hired somebody new, so I don't know who it is. But just ongoing, no, I would. It hasn't been ongoing with the major college universities in town. I wish it could be a little bit better than what it is, but I guess it just takes more time for them to kind of get the landscape of the state and just see what's in the state before they branch out. But I think it's attainable though.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
So, Coach, I know the answer to this question, at least one of them, but I want you to talk about: are you interested in moving up to the college level as a coach? And then,
definitely, yes.
Okay, and I know you've been at a lot of the university games. Tell me what you think you see that the program could do better, that to have more success.
I knew you was gonna ask me that question. Well, just from the games that I did attend, I kind of felt it could be a better just more cohesiveness. I don't know if that comes from the fact that, you're getting a lot of transfers in. You're coaching and playing basketball, especially with girls. They got a bit of a gel. I mean, it's no way around that. And a little bit of better, I would say, setups and game plans or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I'm just saying, just from watching as a spectator, just a little bit more skill sets and setups and, just, more game planning. But I mean, they're in a situation where they're trying to rebuild. So, it takes time, but yeah, I would definitely say more game plans and more, like strategies and stuff and concepts. I was trying to figure out exactly what direction, the games were going in, what was the plan for the game. That's, stuff like that.
Right.
It wasn't evident at times.
That's good insight.
And I won't say what I would do because I'm not the coach, so I'm not going to say what I would do, but, just different things like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Drew, you want to get another question there with Coach Cromartie?
Yeah, Coach. What does the future bring for the Baby Rattlers?
Well, as I stated before, we're kind of in new territory, but hey, that comes with the job. Just trying to kind of get us back to where we need to be. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be this year, but it happens. I just pray we can kind of get back to fundamentals and getting bodies. This year I only had like 7 girls, and I had to almost create a girl off the volleyball team. It's just we didn't have the numbers. So, I mean, we struggled this year a lot. So just hopefully get some experienced girls in and just try to, bring it back to prominence.
Let me follow that up quickly. At a school like FAMU High, that's not a public school, how hard or how easy can it be to quickly turn it around? Because at a public school, you just got to deal with the gene pool. Whatever's out there in your zone, that's what you got. You don't have quite those restrictions at FAMU High, but you have other challenges.
Definitely. I mean, and when I said 7, let's go back from my last year's team. We was a game out of the state finals. I lost 5 seniors, and then I had 1 that moved, and then the 2 that transferred out. So that's a total of 8 girls that just left from 1 year. That usually doesn't happen. And then so we were left with 7, and out of the 7, 1 of them didn't even play. 2 of them didn't even play basketball. I had to kind of force feed them into the season. So just imagine somebody that hadn't played before. You're on a varsity team. So that's a lot. And what our enrollment is only 5 on a good day. It's only 530, and majority of those kids are in elementary. High school, you might have 200, if that. So that's the dilemma that we're dealing with a K through 12 small school. So that's why I kind of say it's unfortunate that you have the bigger schools that kind of tap into the private schools. I'm like, your pool is so much bigger. You know what I mean? But, that's neither here nor there. But it happens. That's why I say, hopefully we'll get some kids transferred in. Or 1 year I had one that just fell in my lap. She moved from out of town, things like that. And I would try to go out to the middle school games just to see who's out there. But, it's just sometimes how it goes.
I understand being a coach or being a teacher at a small school. I totally understand what you go through. Let me ask a strategy type question here, Coach, because it kind of came up earlier in the show. Obviously, you met Coach Tamika Reed in Jackson State when they came down here. So we were at the end of the Jackson State Southern women's game. Did you get a chance to see the end?
Did I see the end? Yes, but see, by the time I got to it, I think Southern player did a Hail Mary, a heave, and she made it. That's the only part I seen. Right. So I didn't see anything before that.
So Jackson State's up 2. Southern has to go the length of the court, essentially. What's your strategy? We can talk about what you would do because Coach, neither of these coaches are around in our state. So
Okay, yeah.
what would you do if you were Jackson State with the lead and Southern had to go length of the court just to even tie? The thought thrown out there that people would foul, which I still don't understand. What would you tell people how that works? For people who don't
We were in a situation like that before, and what I tell I don't really like the foul per se. Well, you okay? I gotta know what the foul count is. With the bonus, or you gotta know all that part too. But I don't like doing that. I tell mine, you pick up, but you keep them in front. I mean, and you make them. We're not helping off. You keep them in front, and you always have somebody protecting the basket. And you make them go to the length of the court. Like some people, I've seen coaches pick them up at half court. I'm like, but you're giving them a whole time to come down. No, you getting on whoever you have, and you making them turn. You make them use all that clock. You try not to foul. I mean, I don't really agree with that, but that's just me now, not anybody else. But we were in a situation like that.
Go ahead. Go. What was the situation you all?
We were in a situation like that. We were up 2, and the other team had to go to the length of the court. And I told them, I said, look, and I made sure, because I kind of already had, when you watching the game and coaching the game, you kind of already know where that coach is going to go, who he's going to go with, or what kind of decoy he's going to use. So I put my best defender on who I thought that he would go to, and my second best defender on the other person. So you already game and plan for what they're going to do. And I just told her, I said, make sure she stays in front. And I told the other ones, if you see she's getting beat, you come off and help. Because if they got to make a second pass, by that time, the time should be going off. But you don't want to give them anything that's just so easy so they can just, make the shot. But, I mean, that's just me, though, I would say.
Hey,
y'all trying to get me, I'm getting back in coach mode now.
Yeah. Hey, coaching 101. Never let them beat you with their first option.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say you make them go to the second option. Like when we're scouting a team, I can watch a team for probably about 5 minutes, and I can tell you how we're going to defend them. You know what I mean? That's why it kind of comes a little bit easy to me sometimes, but sometimes it is harder. But it don't take that long to know what a team going to do.
All right. So again, for the people out there who said Jackson State should have fouled, no, do not foul. Up 2, the other team has to go length to the court. No foul.
Because for the most part, and I'm gonna say this, for the most part, they're gonna rush. You know what I mean? They're gonna rush and panic, and most of the times give you the ball because they're trying to hurry up and do things that they're not used to doing. Just play good defense.
And if she happens to hit a heave 3-pointer, so be it.
That it just won your time.
Thank you.
But at least you can live on the day and say you didn't give them the game.
Thank you. Yes. I don't care if it's Shaq. I'm not sending you to the free throw line to make 2 free throws, which you might all of a sudden decide to do. Not happening.
There you go. Yeah, if you lose off somebody throwing the ball. I remember doing a summer league game we were playing for the high at the old FAMU high gym, and it was so crazy because I had already seen the game in a dream I had, and we were down, I think 2. I had a steal at half court, and I just threw it up from half court, and it went in. But I had already seen the game in my dream. But that's crazy. I still won't forget that.
Y'all don't understand. It's crazy when that happens. Y'all don't understand how often that happens. Coaches know.
Yes.
Coaches have that. Coach, yes, that happens. Hey, Coach, we appreciate your time tonight, especially on spring break night. Spring break night, you're supposed to be chilling,
no problem.
relaxing. I want to give you a last word. Any shout outs you want to give? Any final thoughts you want to share with us, with Rattler Nation, before we let you go tonight?
I want to tell Kelvin, thank you so much. Kelvin, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it. I enjoyed you all. To I can't see Mr. Brian. I think I heard another podcast. Did you coach at Orlando Christian Prep?
OCP, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, that's me.
a great dynasty, a great program. I think you all played us one year, and I think we were demolished by you guys. I think one year, like a couple years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
great
I don't
program.
think I wasn't there. I wasn't. Look, I wasn't there then, but I've been on the other side of that. That's why I enjoy these now because I've been on the other side. So I can enjoy these now.
Yeah, because I remember my boys playing you guys, and I never forget that team. That was a good team. So keep what you're doing. You all have a great dynasty program. But I just want to say thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully, we all had a good time, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, indeed. Coach, we're gonna stay in touch. We appreciate you following. Make sure you follow Coach. Give out your handle, social media, because I know you're on social media. Let people know where they can follow you there on Twitter and whatever you want to share.
Sure. Facebook is my name, Ericka Cromartie. Instagram is Miss_E Cromartie. I'm sorry, Miss E Cromartie _11. And then Twitter is Coach Crow at, I think it's FAMU DRS, something like that. Yeah.
And let us know.
DRS need love too, just like the ones up the hill need some love too. So open up the book.
Definitely.
Right? The Cash App,
definitely,
the Zelle, and everything else.
Baby Rattlers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let us know what kind of fundraising things going on. Make sure to tag Kelvin, tag me, tag the show, and we'll make sure to send it out and let Rattler Nation know the support. Definitely got to do that.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I will.
All right.
Hey, Miles,
all right.
Miles College Hall of Famer too.
Yes, sir.
Oh, true that. Yeah. Miles College. Yes, sir. All right. Hey, shout out to the Miles College Golden Bear. My mentor, Dexter Martin. Shout out. Miles College alum.
Yes, I know Dexter pretty well. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, hey, thank you, Coach Cromartie. Good luck in the offseason. Good health. And, anybody that knows some people that are moving into Tallahassee, send them over to Coach Cromartie at FAMU DRS. Good players only.
Definitely.
Good students first. Good students first. Good people second.
Yes.
And then great basketball players third. All right. On the other side, we've got Gerald Thomas the third. So hang in there with us. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Don't worry, Ma. We'll be there soon.
We? Is this the one?
Well, let's say I found the one who takes me to another level. Always stays calm under pressure. Most importantly, the one that helps me discover the coolest places.
This sounds wonderful.
Come outside, I'll introduce you.
You're here.
Definitely the one.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Frontier.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Your ad could be ran here. myjbn.com/support. myjbn.com/support for more information.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, AD, and joining us is Gerald Thomas III, the Tallahassee Democrats FAMU beat writer. First off, we got to make sure we give a shout out. Happy belated birthday to Gerald, the big 2-5. Congratulations, man! Congratulations.
Hey, thank
How you
y'all.
feel?
Thank y'all. It was a good one. I'm getting older. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting older. Luckily, I ain't turning gray yet. But,
Hey,
but, you know.
Just stop, because some of us on this
hey.
show are twice in age.
All of us, I think. I think all of us are twice his age.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I'm not there. Not yet. Not yet.
I say, call them out. Call them out. Who double that age? Call them out.
He ain't even got no gray hairs around his head yet. You know what I'm saying?
I got a haircut just so I can get rid of mine. Yeah, well, see?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can't
hey,
remember
all right.
no more.
See, Gerald, you gonna
The
wake
only
up.
thing I remember.
You gonna go get. Hold up. You gonna go get a haircut one day like I did, and it's not gonna grow back. That's how this happens.
Don't go into coaching, Gerald, and then that won't happen to you. So there it is right there. That's what happened. Drew went into coaching at an early age and messed up the hairline. Hey, before we get going into talking about like football and stuff like that, we got to start with some FAMU softball because the Lady Rattlers are hot on the diamond. They have won 7 of the last 8 games they played. Just finished this weekend with a sweep against Jackson State, winning game 1, 5-3. Then a pair of dramatic games in game 2. Our good friend Nia Morgan with the walk-off home run. Shout out to Nia Morgan with the 6-5 victory in the bottom of the 9th inning. That's extra innings for those who aren't familiar with the whole softball rules thing. They only go 7 innings in softball. And then in game 3, it was a walk-off single by Janae Mobley, who hit the game-winning single. So a pair of big wins. Kelvin, I know Gerald was out celebrating somewhere, but Kelvin, you were there. Give us your take on the crowd and just what you saw from the softball team, and then we'll throw it over to Gerald on what he's seen from softball this year.
So baseball and softball both were playing this past weekend. So I was kind of shifting between the two, but I had been in some of the baseball games. I hadn't been to in person a softball game. So I made Friday nights and most of Sundays with a little bit of Saturdays, I believe. I was more baseball on Saturday, but I have been following the team. I watched the Alabama when they played the tournament up in Montgomery a couple of weeks ago, and they swept that one because that one was online also. And I love what I see. I have, you got to remember, this is Coach first year with this team. Mm-hmm. She just got hired in January officially. She's still got a volunteer assistant. She told us about when she came on the show that, she lost a couple of players because of the lateness of them making a decision about who was going to lead the program. And with all of that, she has a very senior laden team. This is a very experienced team. If you look at their roster, I think they have like 11 seniors or so out of their 17, 18 players, even though some of them have COVID years, so some of them still be able to play another year. But this is a very experienced group. And when you watch them, it shows. If you look at just this past series, the Jackson State series, and they also did it against, I believe it was Southern in the Alabama tournament. Close games. They are cool as a cucumber, man. They deliver on 1-run games, walk-offs. It's how they're winning. They win with pitching. They win with hitting. They can beat you a lot of different ways. And so they won out of conference games. They dominated the conference games. So I'm extremely, right now for me, they've overachieved expectations. And now we just want to see them continue and to stay healthy and have an opportunity to win the tournament at the end, which is, Coach, she wasn't bashful about it. She said she had a good team. Coach Wiggins, the legend, was out there this weekend, Sunday, at the game with her broom. So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement around the program. And Rattler Nation, those in Tallahassee especially, need to make sure they come out to the game. Is important. The attendance has been pretty good, at least this weekend against Jackson State. But yeah, let's fill up the place. The girls feed off our energy, and they're playing really good softball, frankly. So,
Gerald, questions from what you've been able to take in of this squad, or as you talk to coach or players?
Softball, just to see them put together those 2 close wins, that's a testament to that experience that Kelvin is talking about. When you win a game by 2 points and then win the other ones by 2 runs, excuse me, and then win the other games by a single run on walk-offs, that just shows that cool, calm, and collectiveness that this team has. A lot of these players are returning players, so they have that experience of playing with each other. And also, Coach Patterson, she's been around. She's been at FAMU since, I believe, like 2016, starting off as an assistant. So she moved her way up. So to kind of have I feel like they have that same grit that their head coach got, because their head coach didn't just come in and was a assistant that that was getting paid. She was working for free to get to where she wanted to get to. So I feel like with Coach Patterson as the coach, I feel like they're in good hands. And just to see them put together that sweep, and I saw Coach Wiggins out there wear Sunday's best on with the broom. It's things are looking on the up and up for FAMU softball.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I know this weekend a big series as Bethune-Cookman comes into town. So that is another Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. The men are on the road. Baseball, rather, they're out to Itabena, taking on Mississippi Valley. They need to get it going, because right now the 6-11. I was gonna say Itabena, but Mississippi Valley's like 6-10. Have you had Gerald? I'm curious, because one of the things Coach Patterson talked about was the limitations with roster size, and AD Sykes has been vocal about making sure that the non-football programs have everything they need to be successful. Have you had any conversations or anything on those along that line of saying, hey, what is happening with softball and baseball and tennis and just those other sports that need more in order to maintain and keep producing at a high level? Have you had any conversations with anyone within the program, coaches, players, or AD Sykes? Any thoughts that you have as well?
I haven't necessarily had conversations with them, but it's definitely family definitely have programs that could use some support. Like I'll say off rip, baseball, the stadium got to get upgraded. Like the stadium needs an upgrade. I saw like they took the sign down. The sign when you walk into the baseball stadium and it has all the FAMU history on there. Like when they went to the NCAA tournament, it's not there no more. So I think baseball, especially because baseball, usually baseball are some winners. They win over that FAMU baseball. Like Coach Shu has a pretty respectable program. So some upgrades for them would be real nice because you see those guys play and as soon as after the game, it's like old school. They gotta go, clean the field up and things
Work the
like that.
field.
Yeah, right. So when you get some turf, you don't have to worry about that maintenance. That manual labor. These guys just play 9 innings and God forbid it go to extra innings. And they have to do that. So those guys should definitely get some some upgrades over there because I think baseball is really one of the main sports at FAMU in my opinion. So those guys should definitely feel included just as any other athletic program within the institution.
Do you sense any frustration? I mean, I don't know, rightly or wrongly. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I sense I have frustration, and maybe that's just me. And we talk about it, but do you sense frustration in any form or fashion from people that you talk with that are close to or a part of the baseball program? You don't have to give specifics, obviously, but I mean, do you just what's your sense of where we're at?
Well, I know Coach Shoop, he was at the 220 quarterback club. I can't remember if it was this calendar year or late last year, like December. It was either December or January. I can't. I'm getting old. I just turned 25, so you know. But,
Stop it.
you know,
Stop it.
but
Get
uh,
out of here.
I think he mentioned something about wanting some turf. So he's going on record saying that, and I think now that it's out in the air and now there's an AD in place, I think that's another step to making that happen, and hopefully they get what they want because, like I said, he's built a solid program over there.
hmm Drew, any questions you want to jump in there while we're on the topic of baseball, softball? Anything you want to get in there with Gerald? Just jump in there.
No, I think you guys have pretty much covered it all from the baseball, softball portion of it. So I'm going to reserve my time for the reason everybody wanted to hear Gerald come on here and talk about that pig scheme. So I'm going to save my time for that.
Well, go ahead. Lead it off then. Go ahead. Lead it off. We'll put you at
All right,
the top of the batting order.
I'll lead. I'll come in and pinch hit at the top of the batting order. No, since we're gonna use baseball, softball, I'll be the DP or the DH, depending on which one of those is your favorite sport. But football wise, we are right now. We know who QB1 is supposed to be for not only the spring but the upcoming fall. Question is, Gerald, who is RB1 and who is WR1? Who are the leading candidates right now to take those two slots?
Well, I think WR1, that's easy. That's gonna be K-Dot. K-Dot, he's going into his third year in the program, and he's been a constant. Last season, he was entering the season with a fractured foot, and he ended up playing every single game of the season. Which, when I spoke to him last summer, he said, "Man, I'm gonna miss like the first 3-4 games," and he ended up suiting up for North Carolina. In that short, when they were shorthanded. So he's gonna be the top target, I believe. But David Manigo, he's been this is maybe his fourth year at FAMU, so his role is definitely gonna upgrade. Because when you have a guy like Xavier Smith leaving, man, it may take multiple people to be able to, get that level of production. Which isn't a bad thing because that gives Jeremy Musa options. And Jeremy Musa, he last year was his first year as a starting quarterback, but I believe this year you will see major progressions because you had those growing pains. Last year was his first time being a Division I starting quarterback, and he said countless times, for the first time since my junior year of high school, I have continuity. I come in learning the same offense. And then as for running back, not really sure about running back right now. I know they got Jaquez Yant from Nebraska, who actually went to Godby High School. They have a lot of guys they have a lot of running backs. They have a lot of running backs because I think that's something that they really want to hone in on. So Jaquez Yant, he's been getting reps. Terrell Jennings, this is like his 4th year in the program. He's been getting reps. Kelvin Dean, he went to Rickards. He's originally from Chipley. He's been getting reps as starting running back. So as time goes on, it may not be a surefire starting running back until it's time to go to Miami to play against Jackson State, or they'll decide to just do it by committee, such as how they did it last season. So that's how the running back thing going down right now.
Let me flip it on the defensive side of the ball before I turn it over to Brian and Kelvin. Obviously, losing Isaiah Land off of that defensive line nobody's going to replace him. No singular person is going to replace him. But somebody has to slide into that slot right now. And then, so who's the other candidate to slide to that slot at the end? And then who's going to help take up that slack as far as the sack production and the tackle production that Isaiah was able to bring to the FAMU?
Well, actually, last season, Kamari Stevens actually led FAMU in sacks, and he's coming back this year. He was an all SWAC first team selection, so maybe because remember Isaiah Land got almost 20 sacks in 2021, and then last year he didn't get as many because more teams are trying to double team. So maybe Kamari will be a guy.
Now, people go double team Cromartie, and now so now who's going to be that person who's going to step up? Because he's going to draw all the attention now.
I'll say a guy that really stuck out from the Florida Classic, Anthony Dunn. I think he had like 4 tackles, maybe 3 tackles for loss, maybe 3 sacks, like a fumble recovery, a forced fumble. So that's a guy to look out for too. That was a guy that I was really impressed with at the Florida Classic. I actually think he had a legitimate case for like getting the game MVP, but I know the year before a defensive player won it with BJ winning it. So I was like, they're gonna give it to an offensive player this year. But that guy, he's I think he's a sophomore. He's a sophomore junior, but he have multiple years left. So be on the lookout for him too, because he has a chance to be a star too, especially with years to spare.
Go ahead, Brian.
So Gerald, as you're watching, and I know I've seen some tweets. You've been up at 5:30, 6 in the morning with your cup of coffee out there watching practice. What are some of the interesting? Give us those. Obviously, those of us who haven't had the opportunity or get the opportunity, give us a sense of what the vibe is like that early in the morning for these practices.
Well, I tell you this. I go out there, no cup of coffee. No cup of coffee. I go out there just straight up, just me. I wake up, I eat me a bowl of oatmeal, and it's time to hit brag.
He said oatmeal.
The vibe out there, man. It's a very, man. That team is very competitive, man. Like I talked to Isaiah Major. He said this is the most competitive team that I've ever been on, and he said that after day one. Those guys, offense, defense, going at it with each other. Like those guys are super competitive. It's a lot of energy for it to be 6 o'clock in the morning. It's a lot of energy out there, and I think those guys, when Coach Simmons made that switch to the 6 a.m. practice, because before they were practicing at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then when he made the switch last year during that bye week, those guys really responded well. And as you see, when he did that, the season turned around, and so yeah, man, it's a lot of energy out there, man. Those guys, they go out there and they get after it. They get after each other and they make each other better too.
You mentioned they get after it competitively. I think we had read about little skirmishes and little things like that broke off. I don't know if it was in practice 3. Where'd that come from? Was that any particular offensive group versus a defensive group? What can you share about what you saw there?
Man, that was practice 2. That was practice 2. That was the that was actually the practice before they even put shoulder pads on. And I just felt like that was just brewing all practice long because, you see it in the NFL all the time. You always have those NFL teams that, they get into a little brawl or they get into a little scuffle with each other. They just, going at it, jawing with each other. So those type of things are supposed to happen, in training camp, in spring camp, because those guys haven't stepped on the field since November. So they waiting to hit somebody, and the only people that they can hit are their teammates. So that was just something that was just brewing all practice. But Coach Simmons, he did make them pay for it. And I talked to Kendall Bowler too, and he said after that, they had a players meeting, and he said he feel like they respect each other more now since they had that, since they had those, little scuffles at practice and yeah, he said they definitely moved past it. And it showed when they came back to practice. Because they had to practice the very next day. And they had shoulder pads on this time, but it was nothing like how it was on Thursday.
Kelvin, what you got?
I'm known to ask compound questions, so I'm gonna keep that tradition going with this one. I got a couple of things I'm throwing at you, and they kind of polar opposites. First of all, are there any players that are not practicing right now, a little banged up, that's gonna miss the spring that you expect that will contribute or start in the fall? And if so, who are those players? And then secondly, we've got the pro day coming up with the players. Kind of talk about what you expect at the pro day and what you got planned in terms of your coverage and everything.
Yeah, they haven't reported any players that wasn't practicing. To me right now, it look like just about everybody is out there. And then as far as the pro day, I'm looking forward to a pro day. I've never been to a pro day, so that going to a pro day would be kind of like me going to the NFL Combine. So I'm looking forward to that. Coverage wise, y'all already know I'm gonna be out there. You know what I mean? Y'all already know I'm gonna be out there. I'm excited to see what all teams show up. Coach Simmons said last year 31 teams showed up. So this year I would expect it to be 32. Along with XFL and USFL teams of that nature and things like that. So I'm looking forward to the pro day. I'm looking forward to the guys that have impressed during their off-season workouts. Like Isaiah Land, he fared well in the combine. We all know about what Xavier Smith did at the HBCU Legacy Bowl. So to see those guys come back, because Isaiah Land, I would say he's at the top. He's at the top when it comes to guys that will get drafted out of FAMU. But to see him come back and do that pro day with his teammates and his guys and the guys that he's been with for 4 or 5 years, that's a good thing. So I look forward to seeing all of those guys come out and try to give themselves a chance to play on the next level, whether it's the NFL, XFL, USFL, arena. I don't know if arena football is still around, but arena football, Canadian football, I just want to see all those guys, reach their dreams.
Follow up with that real quick. I haven't seen anything or heard anything specifically about BJ Bowler. In terms of postseason games or anything. Do you have any information as to? I know he'll be at the pro day and everything. He'll get a chance to test himself there, but I'm more interested to see him and the kicker, the punter, who I think those guys who will have legitimate chances if they don't make NFL squads to make, like you say, SFL or one of the other pro leagues. But just talk about it, if any information you have in terms of some of the other guys. We know, like you say, we've seen Isaiah and Xavier Smith, and they have performed just like they performed their career at FAMU. Those guys, you're talking 3-year starters, big numbers. They look like they passed the eye test. They look like the best players when they played. Even when we played up in competition, they went to the NFL Combine. They went to the recent Senior Bowl and the HBCU Bowl, and again they look like they belong. But I think we have a few more players that just a notch below them that can earn themselves an opportunity on somebody's squad. So kind of just talk about who you interested in going into this pro day that you think might have an opportunity?
Yeah, well, BJ, he's I actually saw BJ a few weeks ago at basketball. He's actually down in Orlando training. So of course he'll be up at the pro day. Guys like Chris Fadul, man, he's an All-American punter, So and I definitely think he has a realistic shot at going pro, because just to see him come back last year, he came back from like a torn meniscus and MCL all at the same time, all in the same leg, and it was like he didn't lose a step to it, and that just was crazy to see. I wasn't here the season that he got injured, but I saw when he got injured against USF, and I was like that could have been bad. And a guy like Jose Romo Martinez, he's a guy that's been a constant too. The only time Jose wasn't automatic was when they played against Alabama State, but that was just an ugly game all around from the whole entire team. So those are some guys that teams should be looking at. I saw that Jose met with it's one of them blue teams, I think. He met with one of those NFL teams that wear blue. I don't want to say the wrong team either.
I think it might have been the Colts. It was the
Colts.
Yeah, because they punt a lot.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man. The pro day is loaded, man.
Kelvin. Unnecessary.
The pro day roster is loaded, man. So I look forward to seeing what those guys do in front of those NFL scouts, because I know they want to get to the next level. Just as bad.
Hey, shout out to Mr. Bowler there on YouTube. Right as Gerald was about to let us know about BJ, he reiterated that yes, he's in Orlando training right now. Ran a very fast 40 and is looking good. So we look forward to seeing him at the pro day at the end of the month, right? March 30th, I think that's when, something like that.
March 30th.
Or the 30th.
March 30th, I believe that's
March 30th.
That's a Thursday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. AD, jump in there. Final word or thought here before we end this segment with Gerald.
Gerald, I want to take you off of all the athletic fields and take you back to the newsroom for a second, man. And if you could, can you kind of break down what it is that you do on a daily? Because for somebody like Brian or Kelvin or myself, we see what you put out. We see the output. Very few people understand the input, and me having worked in athletic departments and help facilitate getting these stories out to various entities. Sometimes they get picked up by the entity, sometimes they don't get picked up by the entity, but we try to push it out and try to push it out. Kind of take the curtain off, take us behind the scenes, and how you figure out when you get some information from a FAMU, whether it's tweet worthy, whether it's IG worthy, or whether it's something you need to follow up with a full article about. How you kind of decipher that? So kind of take us behind the curtain, if you would, for us.
It's mainly based off of public interest. If I feel like people are going to be interested in it, I'll definitely do like multiple things on it. But my day to day, it fluctuates. It's something different every day. Some days I can just be at home all day and work just from the house. Some days, like today, like I'll give you an example. Today was one of the busiest days like ever. I woke up. I went to softball practice at 11. I went to the 220 quarterback club at 12. I went and met with Coach Simmons at like 1. Then I went to baseball practice at 3. Then I went home. And you got to put your stories together. Be on the lookout. Me and Coach Simmons got a Q&A coming out tomorrow. Just plugging that. So be on the lookout for that. Okay. And then now I'm sitting here on the show with y'all. So it all fluctuates. But just like things just you can tell by when things hit social media, you can tell where the interest is at. If it's not really gaining any traction on social media, it's like, I could do something, but like my biggest thing, my whole career has been I want people to see my work. You know, I don't want to just put things out for the sake of saying that I put it out. I want people to actually, see it. Now, sometimes I do have those stories that I do that people really, just don't care about. But I definitely have to be able to decipher what's more important, especially with me being on a beat. Sometimes there's multiple games going on at one time, so you really got to decide what's the priority. It's no knock against in the other sport, but you just you don't want to stretch yourself too thin. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it just based off public interest, whichever one people are really going to which one is going to compel people the most that I'll pick up. And when it comes to just stories and things like that, man, I got a whole notepad of story ideas that I want to do. So yeah, man, that's just the simplest way I can put it.
Let me follow up quickly before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Now, we all know in this business, media business, we all get nuggets that sometimes should not be repeated or cannot be repeated, or it's good information, but you can't find that other source or the second source so you can corroborate it so that you don't put out, you don't reveal your source and you really heard it from person A, but you need to get something from B and C so that you don't sell A out. You know what I'm talking about there. And then you have that, and we talk about this behind the curtains. Do we want to be first or do we want to be right? Walk us through some of that stuff and just your personal philosophy on it, because depending on what media outlet it is, you got the National Enquirer type people who just want to put out garbage and just put it out there, and then you got other people want to be legit and they don't care about being first. They want to make sure they get the story right. Just kind of walk us through that, man, from a media point of view.
Right.
Hold on. Is Gerald, are you old enough to know about the National Enquirer? I mean, you just threw out an old reference that I don't know if Gerald is old enough to know about. I'm sorry, I had to do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gerald. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
He getting old. He just turned 25.
I didn't know about it. I just want to double check.
Man. Well, I'll say this right here. We all got our sources, you know what I'm saying? But a good journalist that reveal their sources at the end of the day.
Which is why you have to go out and get B and C.
Right. So basically, with me, I don't care about being first. I want to be right. And even if I'm second or third, I'm gonna do it the best, regardless. I might, you do the initial story and then you follow up on it. Example given, Ocho Cinco got hired to be the ambassador last week. I probably was one of the first that did a story. I mean, the athletics page posted, so technically they're first. So I did a little story on it, but I said, let's take it the extra mile. Ocho Cinco, he's came to practice. He's come to practice and talk to the team. So I'm gonna talk to Coach Simmons about that addition. Just to do things like that. Just to follow up. I'm not just gonna leave it there and no type of follow up. You know what I mean? Like even when AD Sykes got hired, you do the initial story. Man, I did so many stories when she got hired. I probably did about 4 stories when within those first few days of her getting hired. So you do the initial story, and then she had the press conference the very next day. So that's 2 right there. Got a quote from Coach Simmons, did a story on that. That stood on its own too. And then Miss Sarah Hill Yates, I talked to her because she worked in the athletic department, back in the day. So like I said, I may not always be first, but I'm gonna definitely do it. I'm gonna do it bigger than everybody else.
All right.
Professional.
Yeah.
I like that.
Professional. Yeah. Gerald, give the plugs, your social media plugs, and let people know where they can find your work.
All right. Gerald Thomas, FAMU beat writer for Tallahassee Democrat, Tallahassee.com. Social media, my Twitter is at 3PG, the number 3 PEATGEE. I post all of my work on there. Tomorrow I have a Q&A coming out. Me and Coach Simmons. We're talking about spring. They're on the bye week. So, you just get to hear from Coach Simmons a little bit, how he feeling about these first 3 days of practice. Well, all of my work goes on Twitter. I post a little, y'all, I know y'all see me. I get behind the camera a little bit too. I bring the camera out to practice sometimes. The guys love that. So yeah, man, 3PG on Twitter. Q&A with me and Coach Simmons coming out tomorrow. Be on the lookout for it. And yeah, if you ever got any questions, legitimate questions, you can shoot me a DM, and most times I'll try to respond to everybody.
There you go, folks. So if you looking for your asking questions, you want your story about this team and the other team, and you want to know why we ain't got no coverage for this, you go ahead and hit Gerald up. Hit Gerald up, and we'll see. All right, but hey, we always appreciate you.
Just roll the bus over him.
Just go ahead.
Just roll the bus. Just roll the bus
Hey,
over him,
We'll make sure always to retweet all of the stories. Good stuff. We're gonna look forward to that Q&A with Coach Simmons, and we'll see. I'm curious to hear his thoughts on this sort of dead week in the midst of these spring practices. So I look forward to hearing and reading the Q&A. So. All right, Gerald, man. Well, hey, enjoy the rest of this week, and continue celebrating your birthday, and it's back to work next week, man. When practice starts on Tuesday, back to work.
Right.
All right. All right, man. Well, hey, again, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. All right. Let's take a break, Drew. Come back and be ready to final segment, wrap up with the show. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Hey, let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, and AD. Hope you guys enjoyed those interviews, those conversations with Coach Cromartie, Ericka Cromartie, and with Gerald Thomas. Again, go find Coach Cromartie on Twitter at Coach Crow FAMU DRS. That's Coach Crow, CRO, FAMU DRS. That is her Twitter handle. And of course, you can find Gerald at the number 3, Pete G-E-E. So that's where you can find them. Sorry about the cough there. Also, with it being March Madness, I want to tell you guys about this March Madness contest that Drew and I, of course, Drew and I do a show we've been doing for about 6 years called the Sports Wrap every Sunday night, 6 o'clock. So we're doing a March Madness contest on the CBS app. Okay, so as it says, you got about 14 hours left. Everything goes live at about noon tomorrow. So you still have time to enter. Here's the thing. It's a $10 entry fee. And because what we're doing is we're going to give 50% of the proceeds. Whoever wins the contest, 50% of the pot is going to the that person's favorite HBCU program or team. So we need to build up the numbers. I mean, it's one, you can put up to 2 entries, but it's, just one. $10 for one, 20 for 2, obviously. There's links there. You can make your submission via Cash App, or there's a Square link address that you can use to make the donation. Be a part of the contest. So, we really want you guys, if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, and you're planning on being in a pool, hey, go ahead and be a part of this one, and let's have some fun. Let's be able to kind of compare notes and compare games by next Wednesday, and we'll see first and second round fared for us all. But more importantly, we're going to try to give some money back to our athletic program. So we've tweeted it out. I've tweeted out from my handle. Drew has as well. At BCSN Drew is where you can find Drew on Twitter. And we really appreciate you guys joining and then sharing it with your people. Tag HBCU on it or something of that nature. So that way we can really blow this up. All right. I do want to make mention this morning, Rattler Nation blog posted a story about the Bragg Stadium parking lot to get a $3 million facelift. Now, I think part of this was talked about previously by 80 Sykes at the 220 Club. She mentioned that it was being repaved, and I think at the Board of Trustees last meeting, it may have been talked about as well. I just don't know if a dollar figure was ever discussed in any of those previous sessions. So we find out it's $3 million. And so immediately, you know, when you see whether it be pictures that were used in the post, which somebody had said that's not the current look of the parking lot. So I don't know how factual that is. I've never really analyzed it to that degree, but which I found kind of funny. And or whether it's been repaved, you just see $3 million going to something else. And I'm gonna continue to stay on this. I see $3 million going to something else other than baseball and a baseball stadium, which I know this is part of something else. So I'm gonna let Kelvin explain because I'm not gonna be the emotional guy here talking about where's the money for the FAMU baseball. Let's put everything in a perspective and let's be factual with the information. So Kelvin, tell us about this $3 million that is being spent on the resurfacing, restructuring of the parking lot.
So from the information I have, it's not just what we typically have done in the past, where we're just essentially resurfacing and in some cases grading out an area so that you don't have water buildup. This particular time, they're investing a little more in the infrastructure. So you're going to lose some parking spaces. The parking spaces going to be reconfigured, renumbered. They're going to be, as you know, some spaces was bigger and smaller than others. So they're going to make them all ADA compliant in terms of size. I still think you're going to have the same number of ADA parks, but they're going to, when they repaint the stripes, they're going to make sure that folks have full parks and not have partial parks. I think I saw where they're going to put curbs and another access. Look like they're going to put another access from the Warner's Way side near the parking garage into the stadiums, so you have more ways in and out of there. And remember that the stadium parking is not athletic parking except for on special events on game day. That is a regular parking lot that is used for the CAS building, the Student Service Center building, the Lawson Center. So that parking lot is part of the university parking inventory. It is a auxiliary, but it's a parking auxiliary. It's not athletics. When folks talk about the baseball field is a athletic facility only. So therefore, in terms of funding and budget to do something there, um, it has to come from a different pot of money. There's some creative ways that you make and do some things, but so anyway, that parking lot is probably the most heavily used parking lot. Bragg Stadium, talking about parking lot, it's the most heavily used parking lot on campus by far. So so they're using funds. I think it's a great investment for students and faculty and visitors as they come to the university to have a good parking lot with proper drainage, proper size, more access for a better experience when they're coming on campus and touring campus.
And these funds come from where?
So is parking is an auxiliary, meaning that it generates its own revenue because students pay for parking, faculty pay for parking. There are certain areas that are paid parking. So they come from generally the parking budget.
So it's
Sometimes
their
they
own
can be,
budget. Okay.
yeah. Sometimes I don't know if this is the case with this one, but sometimes uh, because there's academic spaces sometimes that may use it. Sometimes some additional dollars may can come with it, but generally they use auxiliary dollars from the parking reserves of parking services.
Mm-hmm. All right. So obviously, when people hear and see this kind of stuff being done outside of Bragg, their initial thoughts go to uh, the stuff underneath the stadium bleachers, such as bathrooms and concessions. That in order for that and those renovations to be done, where do those resources and where do those funds need to come from?
Bragg is an athletic only facility. It's not like Lawson, which is an academic facility and has an academic purpose. So football, the Bragg Stadium and the baseball stadium are, I think, the only athletic only facilities. I know tennis, track, Lawson all have fall under the umbrella of academic lab
What about
and has
softball? Which
softball
one?
falls under an umbrella now. I think of the rec center.
Okay.
That's how they were able to get the softball field turf. So it has some student assets and student fees associated with that. But baseball and football and the practice fields are all athletic only. So you have to either raise the money or you have to use um, auxiliaries dollars that are not earmarked or limited in use, or you can do what I would love to see us do, which is do an athletic P3 public-private partnership. But
Hey, Kelvin.
essentially, yeah,
Kelvin,
yeah.
can we think outside the box for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't been part of the inner workings of FAMU. You can help me through this. I remember when we were in school, there was this place across the other side of the railroad track called Doak Campbell State. And those who were there in the late 80s, early 90s, and this may have even before you got in Tallahassee, Brian. If you remember,
I think
Kelvin,
I know what you're talking about. No, I was there.
Doak
I remember. I
Campbell,
think I know what you're talking
Doak Campbell in 1990 looked like Bragg does today. It was just a shell football stadium. Someone on the other side of the railroad track had the smart idea of we're gonna expand, we're gonna renovate this stadium, and they built around the stadium, built the offices, built the dorms, built all the other stuff and, around the stadium, which allowed them to make those renovations to the stadium. And I believe they did a little bit of something like that with Dick Howser Stadium. Also, they did some stuff, added some academic purposes to Dick Howser Stadium, if I remember right. Also during that time, because there was a big construction boom at Florida State when we first got there. Unfortunately, we were construction era children at FAMU because, my first 2 years on campus, I didn't know how to get to class without going around a gate or a fence. So, but anyway, get back to that. But why haven't we thought outside the box and thought of going about that way for as far as a capital campaign on the highest of Seven Hills?
The capital campaign, I don't know, but I can talk a little bit more about how Florida State did it. They changed, and the rules were changed after that, actually.
Okay.
So the funding sources of that Florida State did initially do the renovations to their stadium, Doak Campbell, had like 4 different funding sources. There was a little bit of booster money. There was some, of course, Pico dollars, because during those times in the 80s when they were doing it, when they were putting this plan together and funding it, there wasn't necessarily a restriction. And as you pointed out, they put administrative offices there. They have the school of what is it? Hospitality is at the stadium, and then they have the Champions Club, so that they have several revenue generating things also around the state, along with academics. So they had I know they had Pico dollars, they had booster dollars, they had, I want to say, some grant money, also some federal money, and it was another source. And then of course at that time they had Thrasher and some other folks well positioned in the state legislature who made sure that they got all that done. And once they completed the initial investment in the stadium, then the rules changed all of a sudden, and the state couldn't fund things like that anymore. However, to your point, there have been on a couple of occasions talk of putting things around the stadium. That formula still could happen. The Cass building, which is currently, where is that? The rec center is the first place I can remember. The rec center where it's at now was not the initial spot that it was supposed to be at. Those are two buildings I know that there was discussion about being in the north end zone area of the stadium. But we had so much transition. I would tell you, we had so much transition when we were planning these facilities that, a new person will come on, a new president, and everything, they would bring on new people and everything would change. Nobody stuck with the original plans. Everybody wanted to make have their own input. And the problem was that with that typically is they're not educated and informed enough to make those decisions. So when you have plans, you should follow the plans because they generally are done by the experts.
Well,
Enough said.
and again, yeah, once again, hey, what's got me thinking here is, a lot of you folks, hopefully, who did go to the baseball stadium this past weekend, and like Gerald said, I didn't even know the sign about the history or some of the historical things of FAMU baseball's accomplishments wasn't there anymore. But I'd like for you guys out there to take photos. Take photos and share. I think we're moving to a point where we need more people to see what we're talking about, because no one else is going to put it out. We can't. No one. And if it looks bad, it needs to be shown, and then we need to find ways to raise funds to get it fixed. That's all I want. That's all we want. We want better conditions. We want better, and I think that's what has to happen. I mean, so next time, obviously when you go to the next home series, which is, I think, not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend, I think, take pictures. Go to the game, enjoy the game, root for the team, but just take pictures. Take some wide angle, not vertical, landscape pictures of, hey, is this a Division I field? Is this a Division I stadium? Look at our press. Look at our press box? Look at our dugouts. There's a lot of things that could be improved upon. And, I know Ike has a long list of things, but some things have been sitting around not getting done for now 2 administrations prior to her. So how far down on the list is that? So hopefully when we are able to have Ike's on, that'll happen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's on a lot of other places. I'm sure they booked and made those reservations back in December, November. But hopefully one day, we'll have AD Sykes on and we can talk to her. And again, we just trying to do more with more. We're trying to be a part of the solution. How can we help? How can we help? That's the number one thing. All right, so look, here's what we got this weekend. Of course, this weekend, softball is at home hosting, trying to continue their winning ways against Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman is 4-19 on the season. They just won 2 out of 3 against Alabama A&M this past weekend. So this is we need to keep the winning ways going. How about our tennis program? We haven't had a chance to talk about tennis. The tennis, our ladies went to Montgomery for the second SWAC cluster the past weekend. They defeated Alabama A&M 4-1. They defeated Jackson State 4-3. Both of those teams were unbeaten heading into the match with FAMU. We beat them both. Guess who's still unbeaten at 5-0? Us, FAMU tennis. Shout out to FAMU tennis. In first place. And on Sunday, they're at Alabama State. They're in Montgomery. Shout out to Dr. Lori. Dr. Lori's out there. I know, her and her people. Dr. Lori on YouTube. We appreciate you managing things there in the chat room. But let's rally up some people and get some folks out there. That's an 11 a.m. Eastern. I guess that's 10 Central. That's real early. But anyway, so maybe a tennis brunch. Tennis brunch, whatever you call it on Sunday. Tennis brunch. We go support the ladies. Let's see if we can keep the winning ways.
Bible and tennis.
Right. Go watch the tennis match and then head to church afterwards, right? Or vice versa.
Other way around.
Okay, go to the early service. Go to the early service, then go watch the tennis match, and then go to brunch or bring brunch to the tennis. I don't care. Figure a way how to make that happen. We'll see what happens there. Baseball is, as we said, they lost 2 out of 3 to Florida Gulf Coast over the weekend. Close
number
ball
24,
games,
number 24 Gulf Coast. They beat them Friday. They should have won Saturday games too. They had the lead going into the last inning. Yeah. So this same Florida Gulf Coast team had just beat Florida State the weekend before 2 out of 3.
Right.
So just imagine if we had some like you say, if we had a better field and they could spend more time practicing than they do maintaining the field.
Hey. Just saying. How about our track and field on the outdoor season begins in Jacksonville. So for you Rattlers in Jacksonville, it's the River City Classic at the Jacksonville track at Hodges Stadium. I don't know where that is. I think that's University of North Florida. So it's a 2-day spring break classic hosted by University of North Florida. Field events begin at 9 a.m. on Thursday. That's tomorrow. You can always follow live stats on FAMUathletics.com. Anything else that I think we hit everything that we wanted? Well, I don't know. Anything else that you wanted to hit on, Kelvin, that maybe we missed?
No, we covered track and softball is at home with Bethune this weekend. So, no, I think that covers everything.
Right. How about you, Drew? Anything FAMU related that you want to get off your chest or inquire about, ask, whatever?
No, just let's go out and support our Rattlers as they go on around the different parts of the Southeast, and hopefully we could bring home a spring championship in something, and let's not leave volleyball out there as our only SWAC champion on the highest of 7 hills.
Hey, it really are in March. It really feels like one of our spring programs has got a SWAC title in them, doesn't it?
Multiple.
It feels like,
I'm
I don't
claiming
know,
multiple.
multiple. All right. You claiming multiple? I feel like at least somebody. I
Between
don't know who
tennis,
it's gonna be.
between tennis, bowling, baseball, and softball, we need 2 at least.
You know, I forgot about bowling. Yes, bowling's been off for a couple weeks, but yes, even bowling. I think their spring championship comes up at the end of the month for the SWAC. So yeah, I feel like we got a couple of SWAC titles in us coming up. So again, I want to thank all of you guys, especially everybody on the chats. Again, Dr. Lori, Tamara T, J Mac, I see Bull out there, Corinthian, Morgan, Dr. Strachan, Terrence Davis, Hollow, Mr. Bowler out there, EA, Mary 305 was in the house. Again, if you're interested in that contest, the March Madness contest, scroll up to the very top of the chat and you will see the link to join. And then right there in the pool settings, you will see the link to submit your entry fee, $10 to enter. You can do Cash App, or there's a Square link that you can use as well. It's a $10 entry. Submit your March Madness picks. 50% of the pot goes to the winner. The winner will get to choose their HBCU athletic program or team. We'll send the money there, and then we got some merch that we'll try to get the winner taken care of with as well. So that's how we're doing it this tournament. So please spread the word, everybody. Spread the word. That's going to do it for the show tonight. Got to give a shout out to Drew. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, can you see if you can hang on for about one more minute? I can see if you covered or not.
Oh, hold on. You know what I forgot to tell people? When you join, I messed this up. The password is, check this out. I'm going to put this in the chat too. The password is BCSN25. Goes right in there with our 25th anniversary. BCSN25. So that is, I've been putting that out everywhere in the tweets that go out and things of that nature. But again, BC25 is the password to join. So I'll make sure to retweet all of that.
Like that right there, Brian?
Like that. You and the logos. I love you, Drew. Hey, where's the Black College Sports Network? As old as Gerald Thomas. How about that?
Hey, that means he was born in 1998.
And new promo, been around as Gerald can say, he's been around as long as College Sports Network. You know, so next time somebody asks, how old are you? I've been on the Black College Sports Network. There you go, Gerald. So just to let you know. That's gonna do it. Appreciate you, Drew, for jumping in. What? I'm trying to get out of here, Drew, so I can
12 seconds.
see these. Huh?
10 seconds, and they keep fouling. I was just trying to see if you were going to cover.
Oh, wait a
Brian,
minute. Are you watching the game? Whose game are you watching? You're updating us with games?
North Texas Alcorn State.
Does Alcorn have a chance to win?
Heck no.
Oh, they got a chance
to. Just trying to see if they're going to cover. They now
17.
19.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
Let's see if they cover. 3 seconds.
Also, while you're quietly doing that, let me let people know.
Hey, Brian, you officially got the. Oh, they covered. 69-53 is your final for North Texas. They got a garbage bucket at the end with no time on the clock, Brian.
What a sweat. What a sweat for folks who had Alcorn State plus the 17.5, I think it was. Right now, I think Southern's women are playing in the NCAA First Four. They are playing tonight. Then let's see. Tomorrow, first day of the tournament, I believe you have Howard playing Kansas Thursday. Is that Thursday or Friday when Howard plays Kansas? I think it's Thursday night. Howard is a 16 seed taking on Kansas, a 1 seed. On the women's tournament, Norfolk State, the 16 seed, takes on the number 1 overall team, South Carolina, Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Over on the NIT, the women's NIT side, Thursday, Morgan State is taking on Wake Forest at CM Thursday. And then Jackson State on Thursday at 8 p.m. is taking on Memphis in the women's NIT. So
Southern is down 35-20, 7:59 in the third.
Hey, it is what it is. Support CU basketball programs whenever and wherever you can. We'll see who survives the weekend. All day, FAMU will be in that situation as well. One day. A Mariah Carey song, one day. All right, so again, got to thank Coach Ericka Cromartie. Thank Gerald Thomas for coming in and joining us. Appreciate you, AD Drew, for producing and joining us. Shout out to Marcus and Kofi. Hopefully we'll have Kofi back next week, and and then so we'll keep moving on from there. Kelvin, appreciate you always, and
You too, brother.
shout out to the collection there for hooking us up. The Al Lawrence collection for the nice gear, and the unofficial merchandiser supported by the ONG Strike Zone. As Kelvin models this Anthony Lawrence collection that Kelvin is fashionably promoting there. So we appreciate it. I think it's alcollection.com, I think is the website. So AnthonyLawrenceCollection.com. Make sure when you go buy your FAMU gear, use the code JD at checkout. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm Brian Fulford. Thank you, Rattler Nation. Be well, be smart, be strong, and put them fangs up and strike and strike and strike again next time they come at you with some BS. All right, be good, folks. Peace out.
Well, holla.